Our dear friend for our country, Dr. Eric. I made him doctor because he's the most well-read person on environment, most experienced now, and he has got the capability to diagnose things also and then to plan treatment and management. That's what a doctor does. So we can easily call him. So, Mr. Eric, we are really grateful that you are here in India, and you are here in India not for a symbolic presence on the World Environment Day. He is here for the last many days. He is not resting in a hotel, and he has been moving around all over the country, toiling so hard and with sweat and perspiration. I know he lands in Delhi at 1 o'clock in the night, leaves again in the morning. And that's his routine, which I have been following for many days. So we are really grateful that you gave us this privilege of having your experience and blessings for this World Environment Day. Today is the third time when I heard from UN people that just now he was, Mr. Eric was also telling me in private that what India has done on this World Environment Day is far ahead of what, these are the exact words that he just said, far ahead of what anyone else has, any country has done anywhere in the world since 1974. So that makes our day. And when we had signed this pledge to celebrate it here on his direction, we had on that very day said that for us this is not a symbolic activity that you take one day and celebrate and then send a message all across the world and then forget about it. For us, tomorrow is also not the culmination of the World Environment Day celebrations. For me and for my colleagues, it is the beginning of this huge war that we have to wage against a large number of issues for strengthening the cause of environment conservation and protection, not only in this country but all over the world. And I'm happy that a very significant issue has been focused this year on plastics. My other colleagues on the Dr. Subhash ji and Mishra ji and our dear friend from UN, we are so grateful that a lot of activities happening, and especially I have to express my gratitude to all of you because 9 o'clock in the morning, all present here, and this is certainly one of the, in recent times, if I have to describe my honest feelings, I go to so many symposiums and seminars and various types of activities, but in recent times I find that this is probably one of the most important and probably one of the most relevant subject which has been chosen by the United Nations, and which very candidly Dr. Subhash also said we strongly support the move. And I think our friend Pawan Sukhdev ji and our senior Malaysian colleague, they really deserve, and their team deserve all our compliments and appreciation for the great work that they have done, plus also having drawn attention to such an important issue. In fact, in India also with we are already in the process of conducting an environmental survey about all these issues, but the very fact that for the first time we are going to account for all this I think speaks volumes because these days we keep talking about GDPs. Even a layman who doesn't know about GDP, he has also started understanding that there is something about this GDP that when they talk of 6.4 or they talk of 7.4 and 7.7, so the media also keeps talking about it for almost 2 days, 3 days. So the people, even if they are illiterate, even if they don't understand the language. So honestly speaking, even an educated person like me took many years to understand what is this GDP business. But but ultimately the people have started appreciating, and now when we talk of India being the fastest growing economy and all that, people really appreciate that. But then it's quite well said that if you have growth, you have all these problems also. And as an environment minister, I have always found that it's so complicated to actually balance the concerns about development and the concerns about environment. And as a minister who doesn't have to grant clearances at my level, they are done by the committees, but I am always able to appreciate how much it is difficult for the people in those committees to take the right decision about this. You see, this is the crux of this is that the earth, the resources are finite, the size is finite, but there is a growing population, and particularly in India also. And the very fact that we have forgotten about at least when we talk of India, we actually had a very glorious, strong ancestral past, which actually had inherent, genuine qualities for protecting environment, respecting biodiversity, and taking care of our rivers, our oceans, our forests, our air, and everything. But over the years, we have probably not been able to keep up all those traditions which were given as a part of our DNA from our ancestors. And now when you have forgotten it, you have a tendency to, because nothing can expand. And somebody reminded me of something which was said by Mark Twain, who jokingly once said that buy land, they are not making it anymore. So this is in fact in the whole scenario, when we keep exploiting, and on the other hand, if the population is increasing and your per capita share of everything also goes down, so it has a very detrimental effect. And when we will be able to account all that, in what terms the finance people will tell, technical people will tell, and then report it, because we keep telling people that what is happening to nature, what is happening to biodiversity, what we are doing with our natural resources is not fair, we are not dealing with them in a judicious manner. But when we talk about it in scientific terms or in absolute, you can say correct, measured terms, in the language which the people will understand, I am sure, at least I can assure all of you, and more particularly those who are here from the international organizations, that people in India will be able to appreciate that far more and with far greater, you can say, sincerity about, and this will certainly help us in basically arousing the sentiments of the people, because there is an inherent goodness in the society. Everybody wants to do something for the environment. Everybody wants to do something to conserve nature and see that the resources are respected and used in the most appropriate manner. Dr. Subhash Garg, I liked that he mentioned about the economy around these bottles and water bottles and all, but he said nobody is accounting for the natural air and the water and the power and the strength and the economy around that, because we think that is all free. We never think of what it is and how difficult it will be to compensate or remedy the situation or to repair the losses that are incurred because of our bad behavior towards nature. So that is why, in fact, I took over this ministry only 1 year back, and I could also appreciate that the environment is not about all these only about these laws and only about these regulations and only about these big huge meetings about climate change, about which there was a mention by Mr. C.K. Mishra also. Fortunately, under the able leadership of our Prime Minister, we have been able to put before the world that we are strongly committed to issues of climate change, global warming, mitigation, adaptation, and you all know that in spite of the fact that our per capita, greenhouse gases emission is far less than the rest of the world, or more particularly the developed world, but even then our commitment and our nationally determined contributions are significantly higher, and we are moving ahead towards fulfilling them in a faster, on a faster pace as compared to the rest of the world. But all these technical things that we talk, ultimately, no report, nothing of these resolutions are going to help the people of this world. What will help is what the people will do actually on ground to see that the earth is protected, and they have that real feeling from the heart and soul that that's our solemn duty towards the Mother Earth. And that is why, after a lot of thinking, brainstorming, we proposed to launch a Green Good Deeds movement in the country, and which we thought has the potential that which can be emulated by the rest of the world. And when we researched, we could put down on paper something like 700 green good deeds, small positive actions which anybody in his life can do without spending even an extra penny from his pocket, and then without any extra burden on his resources, without any extra effort, hard work, labor. Rather, he saves his money doing those green good deeds, and they in fact pertain to everything that will help the cause of environment conservation, whether it is energy, water, transport, whatever you can think of in terms of the environment around us. Till now, wherever we have spoken about these green good deeds to protect this cause, and I'm sure that once you have this capital accounting, etc., and if it is proposed to my own countrymen in the best possible scientific manner, more and more people will be committed to the cause of environment conservation and for the cause of this Mother Earth, and to protect the resources and the biodiversity, which is our great richness. And so wherever I have spoken about it, I spoke about it in the BRICS meeting recently, and all our BRICS friends, whether from China or from Brazil or South Africa, Russia, they were all so receptive to the idea that they said, in our next meetings in BRICS, we are going to formalize how we do the green goods movement all over the world. I spoke about it in the Lund University in Sweden. They were all very receptive about it. Wherever we talk about it, we spoke to the diaspora in Denmark, I spoke to the diaspora in South Africa. I spoke in a personal conversation with the Israeli minister recently. I spoke with the South African minister. Everybody on earth, they feel that actually we have to do something. These reports will ultimately not help. And that's why I even at the cost of repetition, I feel that the report is going to be a great blessing in disguise for this world at this very critical juncture, when we are jointly fighting this menace of related to climate change, global warming, and so many related issues. And the whole world has to be motivated towards performing green good deeds, to be looking after their green social responsibility, and that doesn't require much. That only requires a bit of alteration in their behavior, which we can call as green good behavior. and all institutions, and we started with our own institution, that's the Ministry of Environment and the various offices in the country. We said we will adopt only green good practices. So, green good deeds, green good behavior, green good practices, and reminding everybody about the green social responsibility, I think, and if a bit of just a small action from billions of people, it will certainly help save the cause of cause of saving Earth and our environment. I think that should be particularly be the lesson from this session, and the technicalities and all will be discussed. And I'll be very happy on behalf of India. I can say we'll support this move in the best possible manner, most scientific way. Do it most objectively and try to learn from it because everything like this is a learning process. And I am sure that the studies done on account of this, they will certainly help people in India to realize their responsibility and duty towards the Mother Earth with a much better understanding. So once again, I congratulate the organizers, and particularly UN and all the colleagues. And once again, Pawanji, congratulations for your great report. Thank you so much.